First of all, obviously on the behalf of the University of Texas, we're super excited to be here. Very honored, privileged to be in a great bowl, great tradition against a great opponent. So we're really excited. Town's been awesome, been taking great care of us, our players, and just want to say thank you for the opportunity to come here and go out and do our stuff and have a good time and play some good football.
Questions for Coach?
Tim, and the time you've gotten with him since the OU game, how has Sam looked health-wise, and what do you expect from him in a couple days?
Yeah, I mean, Sam's been good. Obviously, the time off for our entire football team has been well. Our guys have had the opportunity to rest up, recover from all the bumps and bruises. They've had a chance to heal any injuries, and we're coming in healthy. And I like what Sam's been doing. He's had really good preparation through this. We've been able to monitor him through everything that we've needed to do to get him to a point where he's going to be 100% for the game, and he's ready to go.
Over on the left side of the room.
Tim, if you can just talk about what's going to be required in this game, especially up front. It didn't seem like your offensive line was the more physical group against OU the second time after they were the first time, and the challenge of what you're seeing in this Georgia front.
Yeah, obviously we got to control the line of scrimmage better than we did in the championship game, no question. Your assessment was correct. I think we felt that way. I think we left some plays and some opportunities on the field in that game, and you can't do that against a great opponent. And we're going to face one. There's no question about it. They're an excellent defensive football team. They're big. They're physical. They run to the football. They do a really good job of stripping the football. They've created a lot of turnovers. We've harped on that consistently for the last month with our players. So, I mean, we gotta control the tempo of the game. We have to play physical and control the line of scrimmage, and we gotta execute when we have to make those plays, be it a third down, be it a big conversion, a red zone. We gotta take advantage and score points, touchdowns in those red zones. Can't be a field goal game. We gotta score touchdowns in the red zone. So I know like everybody's gonna say the same thing when they come up here, that that's what you have to do, but that's what we have to do to beat this team. There's no question.
Over here on the right.
Tim, Chris Savars with KXAN in Austin. 2 questions for you. The loss, Georgia losing DeAndre Baker, him choosing to sit the game out. What does that do to their defense? How do you plan to take advantage of that? And are you surprised by that? And also, what do you see from J.R. Reed from them in the secondary?
Yeah, he's a great player and had a terrific season for him. And obviously our hats are off and have a lot of respect for him. But, we're moving forward. We focus a lot on us, like what we need to do. The guys, as far as who they play out there, they're going to be quality players, quality opponents. The University of Georgia, and they're a really good football team, won a lot of games. So they have depth. They have good football players. So for us, our job, as I've kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, is we got to do our job. Regardless of who they put out there, whether he was playing or not, we got to get open. Whether it's going to be him or somebody else, it doesn't matter. If we can't get open, we're not going to be able to throw the football. So that's a big task for our wide receiver group. So for us, as we look at those guys, they're a really good football team, good secondary. Reed does a great job for him. I mean, he's everywhere. You could tell he's a leader of the defense for those guys as well. So, like I mentioned, I think they're a really good football team. They're very sound. It'll be interesting, obviously, for us as a coaching staff they've had a change. So perhaps tendencies will be a little different. Philosophies might be a little bit different. I don't think the technique and the overall coverage in front of what they're going to do, but maybe when they do it and maybe some new wrinkles. So we expect that.
Over here on the front row.
Hey, Coach, just a little bit over here on the other side.
Okay.
Anwar Richardson from Orange Bloods. Coach, you got Cameron Rising and Casey Thompson. They are obviously in the transfer portal. What reason did they give you as to why they wanted to examine their options, and what's your concern level about the possibility of them leaving?
You know, obviously we live in a different time. Coaching this game is now, you know, players have the opportunity to explore by using the portal. So, I mean, there's not a lot for us to say or be able to do. They're allowed to be able to do that. Obviously, we think a lot of both of those young men. That's why we recruited them. That's why they're here. They're very talented guys that we want to keep here. You know, as far as their reasonings and things that they want to look or perhaps see what's out there, kind of really between us. I don't want to get into their reasonings behind what they are. You know, that's something if you wanted to ask them and they felt like they wanted to tell you, they could, but that's for them. It's not really for me to say necessarily. I don't want to air all that stuff out, but there's no ill feelings. I think it's just, you're going to see more of this. You are. It's going to happen. It's going to happen more at the quarterback position because you only play one guy. Maybe the running back position because you only play one guy usually. But you're going to see this happen more and more every year because of this portal and guys having the opportunity to explore what else might be out there for them.
Back over on the right.
Yeah, Tim, Brian Davis, Austin American Statesman. I wanted to ask you about what I think was one of the pivotal moments of the year, and that was y'all's decision to stay with Sam after Maryland. You know, Tom never wavered on that, at least not with us. And I wonder, in retrospect now, just how big a moment was that internally to say, no, this is our guy, despite what happened at FedEx Field. This is our guy for Tulsa and going on.
Yeah, obviously it was. I think, you know, really going into this fall camp, our conversations were we needed to find a starter and name him the starter and allow him to become the leader of our offense and build the offense around that young man with the tools at running back, receiver, tight end, to create an identity of this is who we're going to be this year. So I think that was a huge part going in. We named him early. You remember a year ago we waited till game week before we named the starter. This year we named him early to be able to start establishing that, and we felt that was important. You know, we certainly weren't, you know, it's like getting a flat tire and then you go cut all four of your tires because one of them's flat. Like, you don't do that, right? You just, okay, we got a flat tire. We lost to Maryland. Let's change the tire, and we'll keep going. So just plug with it and stay with it and just keep going. And we believe in him. Our players believe in him. Our staff believes in him. And we knew, you know, it wasn't his fault in the course of the game. We just didn't play well. And we turned the ball over some. And I know he had a couple of them. He's, you know, in a 2-minute drill towards the end there. But for the most part, there was some good things he did as well. So, unfortunately, at that position, you get a lot of blame at times. But Sam's a competitor, driven, loves the University of Texas, probably as much as anybody on our football team, and a very talented guy. And I'm sure glad that he's our quarterback going into this ball game for sure.
Back over on the left, middle of the room.
Coach Nathan Brown, the New Orleans Advocate. Being an offensive coordinator, what have you been able to learn from Coach Herman, also being obviously an offensive coordinator in the past, and how have you seen him develop as a head coach in this big role at Texas over the last 2 years?
You know, that's a great question. I think, first of all, Coach is extremely involved in what we do. We're a we group, not a me group. There's great input from all of our staff, even on game day. It's nothing for, whether it's our tight end coach, running back coach, say, hey, let's do it like this, or put the running back here, or hey, let's run this route on third down, and us to, you know, kind of marinate it on in between series and say, okay, let's do it. Let's talk to our guys and put it in. So there's a lot of closeness with the staff and connection through Coach Herman. And I think Coach has grown tremendously as a head football coach in just the 2 years I've been with him, just to see him see the overall function of the whole program, because it is hard. He's really good at what he does and calling plays and game planning. He's a smart, tremendous offensive mind coach. Coach Herman is. So it's tough at times for him to, you know, walk away knowing, hey, I could help, and he does. He's very involved, but you see him also evolving as a coach with the defense and special teams and all those areas, recruiting, like all those areas. So, you know, I've learned a lot being able to watch him and see him transition from an incredibly successful head coach, an incredibly successful offensive coordinator into that as a head coach as well. So it's been a great experience for me.
Back over on the right, front row.
Right here, Coach. Hey, Bob Ballou, CBS Austin. You guys haven't faced a defense this good. I mean, at least not statistically. You probably watching film might feel the same way. This year, how creative and how innovative do you have to get LJ and Colin involved early in this game?
Yeah, you didn't have to remind me about how good they were. But yes, we do. We're going to have to. Like I said, Coach Smart and their entire defensive staff, they're good. They're gonna do a really good job of trying to take away your best players, and they'll find ways to do that. And those are the little tweaks you see each and every week. So, you know, we've had a month, and we've been able to sit down and game plan and go through some things that we think will help us, help our football team move the football, stay on the field. That's going to be important for us in the course of the game. You know, so that, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, we're going to have to be able to get the ball to our playmakers, and they're going to have to make plays. And it goes back to what I said. When we get those opportunities, there may be 5, there may be 10 through the course of the game. We got to make those plays, whatever they are, whether it's a down and distance deal or whether it's a, hey, I got a one-on-one with LJ for the first time all game, then we got to make those things count.
We have time for one more. I think we had one on the front row on the left side.
Tim, last year the offense probably wasn't where you wanted it. You know, other schools were negative recruiting, that the offense wasn't where it needed to be. What were the keys to the turnaround this year, and what are you most proud of?
I think the keys to some of the turnaround was staying the course, to be honest. I mean, we didn't really panic. We knew last year we struggled. We had some young players. We had some injuries. I know you can't talk about it, and you're not making excuses about that. Obviously, our job as coaches is to win, right? So it fell on us. But we didn't panic. We didn't get off course. We didn't have to create new things. We didn't make a lot of changes. What we did was we, you know, just tightened our chin strap a little bit and said, let's go to work and let's keep developing our players. And Coach McKnight did a fantastic job in the offseason. They got bigger, faster, and stronger. They had, I think, the first time in what we talked about, the 6 years maybe, the same offensive coordinator and the same offense. So there was some continuity. There was some, you know, guys knew what to do. So now it was how to do it better. So things I'm most proud about this year, honestly, probably I think Sam has played really well. I'm really proud of the way he's grown as a quarterback. There's so many things that have helped us offensively because of some of the things he's done in terms of playing the position in the run game, the passing game, protections, whatever it may be. In 1 year, the jump, in my eyes, as his coach behind closed doors has been really well. I mean, it's impressive, and he's put in the work, and I'm proud of him for being able to do that. I'm proud of him trusting in us, even at times when it may not seem right. It is, and those guys, and really the whole offense, they just trusted us. Okay, Coach, we believe you. It's going to happen, and it has. So now we still got a ways to go, and we got a really monumental task coming up against a really good football team. Our guys are excited and ready for the challenge, as we all are. So it should be a good game.
We actually have one final question over in the front row on the right.
Dr. Golden, Austin American Statesman. Piggybacking on what Bob asked, Colin and LJ, what areas have they grown the most in this offense over the last couple of years, and how much of your input have they requested going into this tough decision on whether to come back or not?
I think very similar to what I talked about, just as our offense as a whole. I think their development in the weight room with Coach McKnight, their development of continuity of an offense, of not having to learn new plays, new formations, just how do I do this better? How to recognize coverage, to have a plan. How do I beat this coverage? And Coach Maringer, Coach Meekins as receiver coaches have done a great job with those guys of of demanding excellence, right? So they want to be great players. Well, it takes a little extra to be great players. It takes that extra time, that extra film, and those coaches have been available to be able to do that for them. And, you know, as far as your question about, you know, have they asked for input? You know, I think it's kind of weird. I mean, there's a small circle. We tell those guys, trust the small circle, the people that you're around. Obviously, their position coach, Coach Herman, will be directly involved probably in those conversations. I'm on the outside and have those conversations with them and share my advice and my experience over the years. But in the end, we want what's best for those young men, for sure. There's no question about it. We love those guys, and they've done a great service at the University of Texas. And I think they got bright futures next year, no matter what.
Thank you, Coach.